family, Iridium. Hope you're doing all right today. Album review time. So, Pentakill and Lost Chapter. Now, this is a funny one. This is I knew this was happening. This project. I knew Jorn Lande was involved, but for some reason it sort of went off my radar a little bit. I thought, oh, should I listen to it? Should I not? I know there's different vocalists involved. It's all to do with as well. It's sort of related to a video game. I'm not sure how it's related to a video game, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. I used to be a gamer, but since I started the channel, that's gone. So I just run the channel now and work. I haven't got time to game anymore. But Pentakill, I think, is a game, as well as you get a soundtrack every time a game comes out. This is what I believe. So you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. So for some reason, I thought, you know, related to a game, a video game, I'm not really sure. Pentakill are like a sort of virtual band, if you like. I don't think I've got any names for the band. I was trying to find some, but I have got the names of the singers that are involved in the project. So you obviously got Jorn Lande. Now he's on about 5 songs on his own on this album and 3 duets. You've also got a guy called Trey Watson and also a guy called Tele and Laura Luimo. Now, someone recommended her today, also below another video of mine, that she's a great singer. And I've got to admit, she is a great singer. I'm going to tell you the truth now, because I like to tell the truth. I like to be honest on my reviews. In metal, I've never got into the female vocals in metal. It's just, I try. I've listened to lots and lots and lots, but they never seem to click with me. Now, this singer here probably clicks with me more than most. She does a great job. There's no denying. She's got a real aggressive vocal as well. She does some great work duetting as well. So, you know, I always give people a chance without a doubt. But I've got to say, the highlight of this album for me would be Jorn Lande, because he's just such a fantastic singer. On him alone, I recommend this album, but everyone else does a great job too. I mean, there are my favourite tracks on this, and I'll go into the tracks and the reason why some are not so much my favourite. But I'm telling you now, the Jorn Lande vocals on here are he's just amazing. He's such a powerhouse vocalist. This album sounds like the one, especially the ones with Jorn on, it sounds like the stuff he's been on in the past as well. It sounds like Master Plan to me. It sounds a bit like the Alan Lande stuff. Not so much probably the solo stuff. That's more stuck in the sort of true metal sort of vein. Even as his career's gone on, Jorn Lande, it's gone into that sort of true heavy metal sort of sound. Where at the beginning of his career on the Jorn albums, it was more so progressive, I would say, a little bit more symphonic, and I suppose this is the way this album is. So I'm going to run through each track, but I've got to say, I love a lot of this album. Some of it not so much, and I'll let you know why. But the Jorn Lande, honestly, I mean, he's just fantastic on this. Kicks off with the title track, Lost Chapter. Now, it's really riff heavy straight away. That's one thing you notice. Slightly symphonic, but not too much. But the guitar is what it's all about throughout the album, really. A soaring chorus is what you expect with Jorn Lande on it. A very cool change up at a 2:40 mark with a violin. Believe it or not, a violin, but it might be like a keyboard effect. I'm not sure, but it does sound like a violin. And then the guitar joining in. A brilliant start to the album. Lost Chapter is an absolutely great track. Next up, we have Predator. Now, what I was saying about some of the tracks I'm not so keen on, this is one of them. So this one has Trey Watson and Tele. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's T-E-L-L-E singing. Now, the music is great on this track. It's heavy, it's fantastic, but there's extreme vocals on here that I just can't get along with. Anyone who watches the channel would know it just ain't my thing. So I try, but it just ain't my thing. I could sort of understand if the extreme vocals are a character, something to do with the video game, but as it stands on its own, just not for me. But as I said, musically outstanding. Great chorus as well, but during the verses and that, it's just growling and deaf vocals, whatever you call them. Just not my thing. Edge of Night is next. This is a Jorn track. It's amazing. Slow song, acoustic guitar intro, then into something not dissimilar, I suppose, to the Jorn Lande sort of project. This is a real epic ballad with some slightly sort of folky influence running through it. With the melodies, Jorn is just outstanding on this track, as per usual. Don't even have to say it, do you? Next up is Gathering Storm. This has Jorn, Nora Luimo, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Jose Aranda. So back to the heavy riffing with that sort of symphonic element. Main sort of vocals are from Nora Luimo. She has a really strong voice. Another epic sounding track, but kind of has a more modern sound to it. Next up is Conqueror. This has Telly and Trey Watson singing. Some very cool, they've been on a track already, but I think they swap around. Some very cool, heavy, modern sounding riffs going through the verses. Almost could be a Tremonti song. The guitar riffs are outstanding here. Now, whoever's singing this one is singing the clean vocal. So there's just a couple of like screams, but it's nothing, just for effect, if you like. So whoever's singing Conqueror, who's the main vocalist, great voice. So yeah, I prefer that one than the other one with the screaming and shouting. Next up is Executioner's Calling. This is Jorn and Trey Watson. Very cool song. This has some odd time signatures leading up to the chorus, which are very cool. Probably the most progressive song so far, especially the middle instrumental section. Very cool song. And of course, Jorn Lande is outstanding on this one. Storm Razor is next, just by Nora Luimo on her own. This is a really heavy song. She has a more aggressive vocal in this. Really impressive a vocal actually, but this is almost thrashy in places. Musically very cool. I did prefer her voice on the other track where she was with Jorn, to tell you the truth. But still a pretty good track. Next up is Aftershock with Trey Watson on his own. Again, very riff heavy with some very cool odd time signatures throughout the song. Great chorus that has that sort of real atmosphere brought on by those symphonic touches. And some cool symphonic touches on this album. It's not too much. It's just usually for effect. Again, some very cool modern touches as well throughout this track. Next up is Last Stand. This is a Jorn track again. An outstanding medium-paced song, symphonic intro and into the track, and then Jorn's voice kicks in. He sings in the verses in that lower tone, which sounds so fucking brilliant. Again, some of those odd time signatures dotted about throughout this song. Again, some slightly folky touches here and there. You know, remember the Scarecrow on the Avantasia song, how cool Jorn sounded with those folky sort of melodies. You sort of get that at times in this. Probably not so blatant. Next up is Redemption, the 10th track. This is Jorn and Nora Luimo again. There's a completely different vibe here, an almost heavy sort of rock and roll sort of song. Loads of energy though in this song. Easily the catchiest song on offer as well from this whole album. The two share the vocals here. Nora's vocals are great, but Jorn Lande, man. Honestly, he's just the star of this album, and I knew he would be. And then we end with Lightbringer. This is Jorn on his own, piano and vocal, and some symphonic touches. He's got such an amazing voice. I mean, almost isolated voice in this, because it's just piano and Jorn. Anyone who hasn't heard Jorn Lande needs to hear him now. You know, if you love your Dio and your David Coverdale mixed in with, he's got a bit of, he does on his own as well. You know, he's got his own style as well. He is possibly the best singer around at the moment in metal. Seriously. Absolutely brilliant, outstanding performance. Really good album as well. The highlights for me are Jorn Lande, and the music itself is outstanding throughout. So, cool album. Recommend this one. You know, and if you like female metal voices as well, you know, she's got a really good voice, so I'd definitely give this a go. Like I said, there's only one or two little bits where there's some extreme vocals. Not for me, but for other people, it definitely would click for sure. Check this album out. Recommended. I'll see you next time.